Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. I'm definitely not re-recording this intro. I'd like to give the listeners a heads up, as I have with my guest. Not feeling 100%, but it's not going to stop me from doing this interview, and it should be fun. Today's guest is the Rocket of reality of wrestling. Please give it up for the Rocket, Josiah Jean. How you doing today, mate? Got that right, didn't I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. No, I apologise, mate. I do apologise. But yeah, thank you for coming on. I know you're a bit busy at the moment, but for making time for me, that does mean a lot, especially with the time differences that we have as well. So
Yeah.
before we talk about your career, what got you into wrestling, the origins of the nickname as well. So I want to know, are you looking forward to WrestleMania weekend?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not booked anywhere, so I get to just enjoy it as a fan, try to watch it both nights. But I
Nice.
wish I was, out there, like
Yeah.
some of my other fans would be out there, but I just enjoy it from home.
Yeah, at least you can put your feet up, you can, that might be
Yeah,
you one day, but for now you can enjoy it as a fan, because I know you are a lifelong fan.
yeah.
As I've gone through your Instagram, see you like holding a little belt. I was like, oh, that's quite cool. But I will touch that in a moment. But what do you think is going to be the best match of the weekend? Even if it's non-WWE, but any matches or companies that stand out to you, like, oh yeah, they're going to have a good match at the show.
Well, I'm sure the most talked about match is going to be Cody versus Roman,
Hmm.
kind of the deciding the fate of the WWE World Title.
Yeah,
So I would think that would be the best match. Would have to be the best match of the
I think
weekend.
that or Logan Paul, Seth Rollins for me. I love him. I know, like, you told me 2 years ago, like, I'd be like a big Logan Paul fan. Like, I would have just slapped you in the face, but I really like him now. He just reminds me of, like, Owen Hart and just, yeah, just has that cool thing about him, but he's a dick as well. And I think he's entertaining
Yeah,
and he's really improved.
yeah, I'll give him that. Yeah.
I think he's cool, man. But yeah, just had to touch on WrestleMania quickly because it is around the corner. But one thing I like to do on the show is I like to rewind the clocks, go back to the beginning. And as I said, it's aware that you are a lifelong wrestling fan. So let's find out what actually made you a wrestling fan in the first place.
All right. So what made me a fan would have to be one, watching it
Hmm.
with my dad one day. Like I vividly remember just watching it one day, watching SmackDown with him one day, and also playing SmackDown versus Raw.
Hmm.
That's I think that game is actually where like I really got into wrestling because you had
Yeah,
all the characters, the legends on there too.
great game.
And yeah,
Great
I
game.
remember that game, and it's crazy because I used to think the graphics were so amazing.
I think
They
they've
look
aged quite well, to be honest, mate. I think it holds up quite well. That's just my opinion, though.
Mhm. But yeah, SmackDown versus Raw 2007 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those games are what got me really into wrestling. Then eventually we'll go to local shows.
Hmm.
And that's where the idea of me becoming a wrestler came when I would go to the local shows. Like, oh, you can actually like do this. It's not like you get chosen or anything. You can actually
Yeah.
go to a wrestling
Like
do it.
Tough Enough or something, like a competition.
Yeah. So
No.
that's where the love of wrestling started.
I've got to ask quickly, just going back to the SmackDown versus Raw games. I'm a bit of a video game nerd as well. Well, it used to be, not as much anymore. Who were some of your favorites to play with on the game?
Well, of course, as a little kid, John Cena, and then Booker T, I
Yeah.
praise him. And then Bobby Lashley would be cool. Then when you unlock Eddie Guerrero, you got to be Eddie Guerrero. So yeah,
Ah, you've won.
that would be
Won me
my.
over already. Loved Eddie, man. Loved him. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. But when you were a fan of wrestling, like who are actually your favorites? Not the ones that you go to play with and stuff on the games, but some wrestlers that you were always excited to watch, like no doubt, and you'd always cheer them on. Like who were some of your favorites growing up?
Growing up, when I really started just watching wrestling, was Cody,
Nice.
and then he just left. But before I like found out about the indies and
Hmm.
everything, I just like once you leave WWE, that's it. You retired. I remember watching Booker T, and then but he left, so I thought he just retired. But no, he's on TNA, and my cousins are calling me, telling me, "Booker T's on TNA. You got to turn on Spike or
Yeah.
whatever." Yeah,
Doing like some crazy like African accent. That was amazing. Just like respect. And like
yeah.
honestly, I randomly watched it like a couple of weeks ago. But no, that's cool, man. That's cool. So what actually inspired you to become a wrestler? I know you said about when you go to indie shows, but was there like a match in particular, or did you just have this mindset from a young age that you always want to do this?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I always said I wanted to do this. You know, I had teachers
Hmm.
tell me that I need to pick a different job or need to grow up and stuff like that. But wrestling, I've always stuck with wrestling. Everything I've done was for wrestling. Like when I joined theater,
Hmm.
because I saw in a magazine that John Morrison did theater so he can be a
Did
great
he?
wrestler. So
I did not know
I'm a,
that.
and then I started wrestling in high school because a wrestler told me if I wanted to become a great wrestler, I would need
Yeah.
to wrestle in high school. So I did amateur wrestling in high school as well. So I've always been trying to prepare myself to become
Mm.
the best professional wrestler that I can be.
I love it, mate. I love it. Just sort of just any direction you can get and borrow it to sort of incorporate into when you do become pro wrestler, drama, and amateur wrestling. With the
Yeah.
amateur wrestling, how long did you do that for?
I did it for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that's kind of helped you with like the training and sort of your cardio and when you do
Oh,
do the professional wrestling?
the training to prepare for mat wrestling and professional wrestling are the same
Mhm.
fundamentals, a lot of high reps and stuff like that, and heavy lifting. So when I got to reality wrestling and
Mm.
they started me off with the conditioning portion, that was pretty easy for me to get through because I was used to that. So it wasn't like a shock to my body to
Yeah.
do reps of certain exercises.
So you're pretty much prepared for it then. So going to reality wrestling, how did you end up there? I mean, it's quite a well-known company, not just for its training, but for its actual
Yeah.
wrestling as well. I think most people associate with Booker T. I've had a few guests that have wrestled there and still do, Izzy James and Gigi Ray. But I want to know, how did you end up there, mate?
So actually, I never thought I would be here, to be honest.
Hmm.
I went to, well, it wasn't really a school, it was just a training dojo. And I went there because it was cheaper price than here, and it wasn't as long as a drive. So I
Yeah.
would go there. There, I met Ninja Mac, who's a wrestler,
Yeah.
and he was helping train me one day. Then he was at the end of the training, he was like, "You got to go to reality wrestling."
Really?
And I was like, nah, that's not. I can't go there. And then he just kept going on with it, going on, and then he said he was going to talk to the one of the producers here, Kevin Bernhardt, about me
Hmm.
to to push me to go there. And then he asked me one night after a show. I was like, nah. And then the next day I went on a Wednesday night. I went, I talked to Kevin. It's like, okay, let me just bet on myself here and just
Hmm.
join reality wrestling. I've been here for like a year and a few months now. So yeah.
Nice. And what's your first impression of reality wrestling, knowing of the reputation and sort of who's come in and gone out of the doors?
Well, it's the top school for a reason. The work
Yeah.
ethic people put into this, in
Hmm.
and out of the ring, or in and out of the school in general. And it's a state of the art facility we got here. It's got a
Deep plug.
full gym
I
over
love it.
here, production out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly great being here.
Did you have any challenges, by the way? I know you said about the cardio was quite easy, with your with the amateur wrestling background. But did you find any sort of any psychological issues, or maybe even promos, or how you present yourself?
So the hardest thing for me to do was to when I first started was just for me to be me in the ring,
Hmm.
and it took and in the promos too. It took me a while just to be myself.
Hmm.
Because now when I go out there, I'm 100% Josiah John. When I go out there,
Yeah.
like crazy, like this hand sign I do now, that was just something I was doing normally. And then one day I just like, why don't I just do it out there? And
Mm.
now people are doing this when they're
The
out
fans are
there and
going
stuff.
back to you doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is strange how all this stuff is coming together. But
Yeah. It'll take its time as well, because like, when did you actually enroll into ROW?
I enrolled in February 21st, I believe is the date. Yeah,
What, this
February
year?
20th, last year.
Last year, yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, so I forget like the times. We're only in March now, but the end of it, yeah. No, no, that's cool. That's cool. When did you make your official in-ring debut? It's the first ever match that you would ever have in front of a live crowd.
Man, I had my first match 4 months after I joined. I can't remember the exact date, but it was
Hmm.
against Warren Johnson, one half of Fly Death. He was my first match, and yeah, it was some totally different than what you think it is performing in front of people
Yeah.
wrestling, but it was amazing getting through that. Yeah.
What was the feedback that you got, or did you have any of your friends or family there? By the way, just it's kind of the reason I like asking that is just because a lot of people with their first matches, when they do have a bit of notice, do like to have their friends and family there. But I want to hear,
Yeah.
basically how it went for you.
Yeah, I had my mom there. She's just saying how proud of me she was that I actually
Ah, did she get into
stuck
it?
with that so long. Yeah, feedback was just to keep working at it because you got something here.
Yeah.
So just working at it. So yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. With the coaches there, if you could tell me more about the coaches, who are the coaches there, and if you can sort of let us know some of the knowledge that's been passed on to you since your training, and some of that's always stuck with you since last year.
Well, one of the head coaches would be Booker T.
Hmm.
Learning from him, I got a lot of knowledge from him. But one of the main things is that rule number 57. You got to look cool. Like every movement you make has to look cool in some certain way, and because people are
Yeah,
always taking pictures, so you need to just have something make you look like you
yeah.
something
I've
different.
noticed that with
Like
your side kicks and the axe kick as well.
yeah,
Like you just know the cameras. I've noticed that. Like when the interview ends, I'll direct the listeners to your Instagram, and they can see themselves. Like, yeah, he knows the camera already.
yeah. And it's crazy that I'm like doing that move too. That he give me permission to do one of his moves. It's
Yeah.
wow. But as far as the other coaches, Ryan Davison is the psychology guy here.
Hmm.
So learning when to do something, when not to do something, when to do something big or do something small, or how to sell things in certain parts of the matches. And another one coach would be Brian Keith,
Hmm.
and he's more of the realism aspect to
Yeah.
wrestling. If you matches, you can see what I'm talking about. And then like today, actually, he'll be coaching today, so we'll be learning some wrestling techniques and how to sell this thing we're doing here.
Mm. I like that. Just you're still training as it going. I mean, you're still doing shows now. I mean, the
Yeah,
actual show that I think it's on YouTube. It's Mantel, isn't it? Is
yeah.
that
The
your
last,
first ROW show, not as opposed to Showcase?
yeah, that was my first. That was my like road show debut
Yeah,
against Manchester.
good reception. It was a fun match, man. I really liked it.
Yeah, and it was crazy because at the end of the match, the people were behind me and they were just giving me a standing O.
Mm.
At the end, I was coming to my feet. You can see that on my Twitter and my Instagram. It was just that was wild. But yeah,
That's what I mean. Listeners out there, if you want to pause this and go find the match on YouTube, you can find it. And if not, I'll put it on YouTube. Not YouTube. I'll put it in the description so you can check it out. I would highly recommend it, especially when your first matches, first official
appreciate
match
that.
for ROW as well. It's pretty impressive. One thing I want to go back to the Rocket. I know the origins, but the listeners might not know. If you can tell them, it was actually Booker T who gave you that name.
Yes.
But if you can go into a bit more detail as to why he gave you this nickname.
So I'll tell you my origin, then I'll tell you his origin.
Go for it. Go for it.
So one day he just call me Rocket. He said, that's your name. I was like, okay, he's probably just trying to be funny because he cracks jokes a lot. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, don't say anything. But then he kept saying it, and then the wrestlers here started calling me, and I was like, okay, I'll just use that. And then and people were saying he's calling me that because I got like limitless potential, and they said it on
Yeah.
commentary. So yeah, and then on the podcast it says it's because I looked like somebody from a movie, Don Cheadle in what was that movie called?
Iron Man? No.
Colors. Colors. I think the movie was called Colors.
That doesn't ring about that one, but I
Don
have seen that
Cheadle,
one.
his character's name is Rocket. He's like a gangster in there. And
Yeah.
he's like, this is. I never thought that was where he got it from, but yeah, that's his origin. That's my origin.
I love it. He's just honestly like just the fact that he's pretty much endorsing you already, with the nickname and he's putting you over on his podcast and commentary. And for you to have played him and the game and look up to him as well, it just, man, I mean, sometimes you take a step back and think, holy shit, this is happening.
Yeah, sometimes I don't even believe it's happening. Like when I'm driving home from
Yeah.
a late night, like last week, it was just me and Zilla and Book just learning from Booker that whole night. And I'm driving home like crazy. I
Mm.
would never think that this is a normal Thursday. Like this is wild. It really
That's
is.
it. I mean, the only time I'd get to meet him is as a fan. And I'll have to queue up for it. But you can just, train with him and pick his brains as much as you want and absorb as much as
Yeah.
you can. And That's cool, man. I like Booker T. I was supposed to see one of the shows, but COVID, yeah. Supposed to do a tour over here, but no, that's cool, man. So I want to ask, what have been some of your highlights so far? I mean, like, I know you've done some showcases, with the training as well. I see, like, it's still early days, but you seem to be picking up already really quick.
Some of my highlights that you asked, right?
Yeah, just since you've begun last year.
Okay, since I've begun, my highlights would definitely be one fighting Ryan Davison in
Hmm.
the one of our public showcases where like it was actually advertised as one of
Yeah.
the headline matches or whatever was fighting Ryan Davison. My debut match, of course, against Mantel,
Hmm.
and then my second roster match against Gino Medina.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for that match to get released because that is my best match so far.
Mm.
And then I think will be the last show in the Rumble where there's Q, Matty Ice, and Brian Keith, and me, Will Allday, and Cam Cole had like a standoff in the Rumble. It's like the good guys and the bad guys, and I was one of those
Nice.
guys. And they're all top stars in the company, and I'm right there too. That was cool. That's one of my highlights
Love it,
right there.
man.
Yeah.
I love it. Is there anywhere in the world that you like to wrestle other than the US?
Well, of course, the UK, and
Hey! Love it.
want to go to Japan. I'll wrestle in Mexico. Yeah, get some different wrestling cultures
Yeah.
in me. And taste, different styles.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Just how young are you, by the way? Just like I think I had them on. I think it was on comments. So I just couldn't. I might have slipped my memory again.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm 19 years old. I'll be 20 in May.
Man, honestly, just the world is yours. Honestly, I have to quote Scarface. Just bloody hell, like already, like just got your foot already in there for the training, still training. Best mates with Booker T in wrestling. I mean, some people don't get there till pretty much late in their career. It's just that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm going to do one last question. It's not necessarily wrestling related. It's quite a fun one. So sort of as a
Okay.
end to the conversation. 3 dream dinner guests to your party. You can pick whoever you want. Could be fictional, non-fictional, past or present. It can be I don't know, an animated cartoon. Up to you, mate. You're the host, but you got 3 guests. And if you can give a reason as to why you got them there as well, that'd be awesome.
Okay. 3 dream guests. All right. I'll put Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. I'll put him there. Uh, I think Michael B. Jordan and Apollo Creed. I'll put Apollo in there because Apollo is actually where I got my look
Oh, the
from.
shorts, yeah.
From Apollo Creed. I was like, yeah, let me just do that because no one looks like that anymore. So
Do you reckon you'll become
that's
that
why.
to living in America? If you can get the license to it, then yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. James Brown, I know he's like, gone, but good luck with that one. So Deion Sanders, what sport was that? I'm not really familiar with American sports.
That's American football.
I've probably pissed off so many American listeners right now for not knowing who he is. They're gonna be like,
But yeah, he's the college football coach. I follow him. I like his philosophies about
yeah. Deion.
being dedicated to a sport and stuff like that, and how
I'm
to
so
train.
sorry to the folks out there. I can imagine he's very popular. I don't have a clue who he is.
It's all right.
Would it be like
All right.
me? That'd probably be like someone from America saying they don't know who David Beckham is. That's just an
Oh, he's a
example.
soccer
Yay! Ah,
player. Okay, yeah.
man. He knows, man. He knows. I love it. Okay, so Pilot Creed and Michael B. Jordan. Quality ass, by the way.
Yeah.
Quality ass. I'm seeing Creed 3 yet. We'll be watching it soon. Just no spoilers.
Oh, all right. I won't say that. I won't say that.
It's at least better than the second one because I thought Creed 2 was a bit boring and predictable. But I thought Creed
I
1
mean,
was incredible. I thought that was fantastic.
aren't all movies predictable?
If it's an M. Night Shyamalan film, probably not. But then that
You know
doesn't
the
mean it has to be.
the base is going to get on top at some point in the movie. But anyways, yes, I would say it's better than Creed 2.
Okay, that as long as it's better than Creed C2, then okay, that's good. There's Stallone still in it.
And the third one,
Okay, is that spoiler?
is it a spoiler?
I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Is he in it? I can't remember how he didn't die in the second one, did he?
No, he did not.
You know
He
what?
was
I'm
not
watching
dead.
up because I feel like I ain't up gonna get a spoiler out of you, and I'm gonna regret it. No, that's cool, man.
I'm
That's
just don't ask
oh,
me.
shut. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Is there any messages or anything you want to say as we are now at the end of this interview?
Messages. I would say to always bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell myself every time I step through the curtain or before I go out, is to elevate and execute. And everything that you do it better than you did the last time.
Yeah.
And of course, it's pretty much what that means to me. So I don't know if that'll help you guys in your life, but it helps me not only in wrestling
No,
but in
it's
real
a good
life.
saying. Like you've got your head like screwed on massively, and you're not even 20. So I can tell like you've matured very quick. So.
Yeah.
But it's a good saying though. I like it. And if even if just one listener comes out of this interview and takes that with them, then it's a good feeling to have. I'm not very
Yeah.
inspirational myself, but I like listening to other people's quotes and whatever helped them through life.
Yeah.
But that's it. Awesome, awesome. Rocket, where can the listeners, followers find you on social media?
You can follow me on Instagram at the Josiah John. That's John Jean. You can follow me on Twitter at
Not I got
Mr.
the last name by the way wrong in the retake. we
But yeah, the Josiah John on Instagram and
Mhm.
Mr. Josiah John on Twitter, and that's where you can find me.
Perfect. I feel like we'll be having this chat in 5 years and your name will be in the bright lights. I just know it from what I've seen already. I know it, my man. But thank you for your time, my man. I do
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I'm pretty glad I didn't cough or sneeze throughout this interview. Hopefully my voice does come across well. But thank you for your time. If you can all like, subscribe, and give this video a share, that would be much appreciated. If you could follow me on my social media handles in the description below, that'd be brilliant as well. But for now, everyone, I hope you all have a great week. Enjoy WrestleMania weekend and take care.
Bye-bye.
Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
I am the ultimate finesser, your girl's favorite wrestler, Bullet Club Zone and Impact Wrestling's one half of the World Tag Team Champions, Chris Bay. And you are on What Do You Call It podcast. Listen up right now.
You heard also too sweet.